Yep, that's the reason for the caution for the Brazilian. The first yellow card of the game. Hakimi. Hakimi again. Easy for Romero. Desiree Doué, but the whistle's already gone for a Tottenham free kick. What a start to his competitive Tottenham Hotspur career this will be for Thomas Frank. Appointed in June, it was a real opportunity for the Dane to make a strong first impression on the supporters, who themselves will be eager to see how his new look Spurs handle the challenge. And the fact that he's kept this formation up his sleeve and has produced it against the European champions, well, that shows that he really does have some bravery and belief in his methods. Pocket pick by Sarr, sloppy from Paris. Sarr again. Well, that's a lovely touch, and not a great challenge in there either. Well, Porro is incandescent, but feels full on deaf ears. Meanwhile, Paris now having a dart. Took two of them to keep Barcola at bay. This is Desiree Doué. Doué dancing, and then losing his way, and then fouling his man.
Brilliant recovery from Tottenham. When Doué is dancing in the box, there were 5 or 6 white shirts around him. Had to be careful, making a challenge, but they win the ball back for Barcola. Gives away the free kick, but just look at the white shirts around him. Pedro Porro wanted a penalty.
Well, there was no second look at it from the video assistant referee Thiago Martins either, so no real cause for complaint from Porro there. An up and under for Spence to contend with. Scalia's got his body to it first. Spence just a bit clumsy there. Dembele. Now it's Hakimi. Scalia. Spence stood his ground. And then Scalia took the legs from under him to send him to the ground. And there's activity on the Paris bench, changes imminent. And they do need to change the pattern of the game, because at the moment Tottenham are extremely comfortable and could be further clear. Well, Pap Sarr's been dragged down there, and William Pacho will get a nailed-on yellow card.
That just sums up the disjointed performance that we've seen from Paris. Slow thinking, slow in possession, not alert to what's around them. I'm going to say Tottenham have been excellent, and credit to them. They've pressed Paris really high up, won the ball back in some dangerous areas. He'll just be viewing this as valuable minutes in the bag, really, because it hasn't been a good performance from Paris.
Porro free kick led to the second Spurs goal after they switched off. Will Paris be more alert here as he gets set to take this one? Porro goes for goal! Chevalier always knew it was drifting narrowly wide of the goal with the aid of a deflection.
Took a nick off the wall. Felt like it was a long way out for Porro to really trouble Chevalier.
Spurs have a corner, and Paris will have some fear about what might follow. Bent in by Porro, but that's a poor delivery by him. Kudus covering well. Going to see Fabian Ruiz imminently for Paris. So try to change the narrative in Udine with half an hour of the 90 remaining. And then dragged by Kvaratskhelia. And the stoppage gives the opportunity for the Georgian to make way and Fabian Ruiz to replace him. Well, he scored 3 goals in 7 games at the recent Club World Cup, including a couple against Real Madrid in the semi-finals. 8 in total last term for Ruiz, his best scoring season for the club, and Paris could do with some more goals from him now, given the situation they find themselves in.
Well, him entering the pitch allows Doué to play further up the pitch now. He was playing more of a midfield role. Now he should be able to get further forward on the right-hand side. Not afraid to slow the game down, Tottenham.
Well, this will be something that Premier League clubs will now know they need to prepare for. The Danso delivery. It's another good-looking one too. And out comes Chevalier with a flying block, but the whistle has gone for the challenge on Nuno Mendes. And much like Kvaratskhelia on Van de Ven at the other end, Kudus going for that overhead kick, catching Nuno Mendes. Brave goalkeeping as well, Chevalier. I think he's had a decent performance, barring that Romero goal, when I think he'll feel as though he should have done better. I think as a team, Paris Saint-Germain will feel they should have done better in all areas, but especially the marking from the 2 goals that they have shipped so far. Ruiz. Tottenham getting ready to make some alterations as well. Looks as though Archie Gray might be getting some minutes. Hakimi. Here is Doué, as you were saying, in a more natural position for him, drifting out to the right-hand side, but Spurs see him off. Nuno Mendes. Ruiz. Vitinha. That's a good-looking ball. Hakimi's layoff. Still alive here. Wonderful Tottenham defending. And the flag now is eventually raised, but Spurs will be pleased with the way they scrambled their defence in any event.
Yeah, it was Hakimi's initial run, I think, who's offside. And this ball comes in. It's really tight, isn't it? Maybe he even just kept himself on, but the flag eventually did go up.
Yes, it is a Paris side who are still to get up to full speed, but Spurs are comfortable against the team that swept so many aside last term. And regardless of the fact that Paris aren't at full tilt yet, this will give Tottenham Hotspur such a boost going into the start of their domestic campaign.
I don't think Paris have had a shot on target. I can't remember Vicario having a save to make. Their structure defensively has been excellent. They've kept Paris at arm's length. The three centre-backs have worked. The way they've got bodies in the middle of the pitch, a counter-attacking threat. There's been a real structure to the team performance. Set pieces have been dangerous. It's been an excellent performance from Thomas Frank's men.
The first league game of the campaign against Burnley on Saturday. They're looking for more goals here, though. Sarr's turn and hit. Marquinhos with the block, and it always looked offside, and now there's confirmation from the assistant on the far side. Hakimi. Emery took a risk but came away with the ball neatly. Dabbed on by Ruiz, and now Barcola. Zaire Emery. Desiree Doué looking for the angle for the hit, which he's found, and Vicario with a good save. Fabian Ruiz on the follow-up. Great defending, but now it's in, and now the flag is up. Well, Paris celebrations cut short. They had quite a few bites of the cherry there, and when they eventually did take an opportunity, they were denied by the officials.
Well, eventually, Vicario does have a save to make. It's Fabian Ruiz that's offside from the initial effort, so it's the right decision. But at least Vicario's now had a save to make. Paris at last testing him.
And that's what's done for Kevin Danso for the time being, who incidentally was booked a short time ago as well. The check is complete, the offside confirmed by the bye. And Bradley Barcola is departing here, so that is two of the starting front three for Paris who have been withdrawn now. Bye is on, and also Lee has been introduced into the fold as well. Zaire Emery, the player to go off, is Mbaye, taking the ball out of play. Mbaye coming on, the 17-year-old winger, given the pace, power and versatility under these local lad. Inevitable comparisons with Mbappe have been made. More experienced campaigner in the shape of Kang-in Lee, the South Korean, who scored at the Club World Cup against Atletico Madrid, although that was his first goal since November. There's been talk that he might be on his way out during the transfer window. A few offers rejected by Paris for the South Korean services. Double switch incoming for Tottenham Hotspur now. You see Solanke and Gray for Thomas Frank's side. Lee. And again. And by. He got into a good area, but it was a bad pass straight at Christian Romero. Vitinha. Ruiz. Due's flick forwards didn't have enough elevation on it. Marquinhos. Vitinha. That's a cute pass. Ruiz dabs it to Due. Due's flick is too close to Vicario and not close enough to Ousmane Dembele.
It's good football from Paris. This is confirmation of the offside. Fabian Ruiz clearly the wrong side of the line by a couple of yards.
Marquinhos is under pressure from Richarlison, but deals with it and finds Chevalier.
It's made a difference, Fabian Ruiz, since coming on. He's just brought a bit more energy to the Paris performance.
Nuno Mendes is up there for Paris. Dembele. Lee. Here's Hakimi. Now it's Lee. Hakimi. Beautiful ball. Fabian Ruiz laid off for Dembele, whose radar's not quite working.
Fabian Ruiz thought he might have been offside again. It was tight. He had a little glance over at the assistant. Dembele's effort well wide anyway.
Well, a big hand here from the Spurs fans for the departing João Paulinho, who is going to be withdrawn with Archie Gray taking his berth. Richarlison will also depart the scene, and Dominic Solanke will come on, which will be a welcome sight for Tottenham Hotspur fans. He's missed most of pre-season with an ankle injury, although Thomas Frank says that he has never really been overly concerned by that, for the man who scored 16 goals in 45 games last season, including one in the quarter-final and in both legs of the semis. Here's the second Spurs goal again.
It was tight, wasn't it? Christian Romero just about held his line. Decent header into the ground. Having said that, Chevalier won't want to watch it too often. Delight amongst the Tottenham supporters.
And Romero trying to get even more volume out of them. Well, they might be over the moon tonight if they are able to hold on to this scoreline against Luis Enrique's side. Substitutions coinciding with another impromptu cooling break there. Much to ponder then for Luis Enrique, who said he wasn't trying to make excuses, but he anticipated a difficult evening with Tottenham under new guidance and with new players, and his side having not had any training for the last few weeks since the Club World Cup.
If anything, it's going to be even harder for them to find a way back now, isn't it? Running out of energy, running out of legs. This stage of a game against a team in Spurs who are very happy to sit back, allow Paris to have good possession.
Marquinhos. Mbaye. Lee. Ruiz. Now Vitinha. Spurs starting to sit a bit deep, and Paris playing the game largely in the Tottenham half now. But Spurs have the 2-goal advantage and are backing themselves to see this one out.
They've been really disciplined in their approach to the game. They haven't gone chasing after the ball when they know they can't win it. When the opportunity's been there, they've pressed Paris, but generally they've been happy to get themselves back into a shape.
Last Thursday, Spurs battered by Bayern. Tonight they might be leaving the Champions League winners with a bloodied nose. And they do look the more likely to add to the scoreline. Solanke's pass is handy. Porro's pace not quite enough to get him there. Marquinhos. Fabian Ruiz. Lee. Mbaye. Here's Hakimi. Pacho. Vitinha. Overhit pass, and Mbaye should be able to do something with it. Hakimi. Mbaye. Going nowhere fast at the moment, Paris. Feels a little bit like possession for possession's sake. Barcola. Rather. Now Marquinhos. On from Vitinha. Here's Hakimi. Crosses too high for Dembele. Kept in by Desiree Doué. Nuno Mendes. Doué. Well disciplined from Doué, both in terms of losing the ball and losing his call to give away the free kick.
It's attack versus defence and has been for 5-10 minutes or so. But there's no way through. Tottenham so deep, so organised, strength in numbers. There's just been no way through for Paris.
That'll be Doué's last contribution as well, the concession of a free kick. Gonzalo Ramos, his replacement. 19 goals in 46 games last season for the Portuguese, the last in that 4-0 victory over Real Madrid in the semis of the Club World Cup. His best ever scoring season for Paris. He's generally had to make do with appearances from the bench. Half of his goals actually coming as a substitute. Pinheiro just having a chat with Archie Gray and Fabian Ruiz, who are having a bit of a running battle. The ball has just bypassed that pair now. Dembele. Oh, beautiful to get away from Bentancur. Then a really wretched pass to follow it. This is Hakimi. And Paris make it Interesting last 10 minutes or so. Spurs have been mightily comfortable. Worked across to Dembele. Great block from Jed Spence, and that typifies Spurs tonight, really.
Yeah, it's excellent defending, but they've doubled up well as well, haven't they, Tottenham? See Spence on this side.
Hakimi's ball and Van der Ven's clearance.
Papsar's been really quick to double up and help him in that position. Moments ago, Porro was isolated on the right-hand side, and Archie Gray came across and made it an extra man.
Well, a big hand for a man who's made a big impression since his signing for Spurs in the summer. Mohamed Kudus, the arrival from London rivals West Ham United, gets a hearty pat on the back from Thomas Frank. Matisse Tell, another relatively new acquisition, having joined on loan initially in January, made his move permanent over the summer, is on for him. Spurs will be happy to see those kind of pot shots rain in as the clock ticks down. Tinia hasn't got many.
Wonderful skill from Dembele. He's shown touches of real class this evening.
Sar's flick has found Tell. Fabian Ruiz. Nuno Mendes has continued his gallivanting run. Vitinha. Marquinhos. Dembele. That's a clumsy challenge, and that's a free kick in a useful area. Lee was flattened, and João Pinheiro had a bird's eye view of the incident.
Yeah, that was a silly challenge. No need to make that. Spurs have got plenty of white shirts behind the ball.
Will it be Hakimi or Lee to chance their arm here? It's Lee, it's into the wall. And play stopped due to the ball actually colliding quite fiercely into Romero.
Yeah, he took one.
Actually, in fact, it was
Porro, yeah.
Porro, yeah.
Yeah, beat the wall, but it didn't beat Porro, who was behind the wall.
Well, he'll really be enjoying tonight. Guillermo Vicario, born in Udine, started his career here, never played a senior game for them. He is a source of pride for this city, though. Always tries to spend a bit of time here with his family whenever he can, and he was given the City Seal, which is awarded to individuals who have distinguished themselves through special merit. And he is set to finish the evening with another award around his neck, a Super Cup winners' medal. Vitinha pushes it wide. By having a dart and getting it in dangerously, Ramos nearly managed to poke a toe at it. Pacho, Hakimi, Lee. Got the angle for the ball to be whipped in, but once again there was a Spurs body in the way. Fabian Ruiz racing to get there and gets the corner.
They're pushing hard, but they're finding it difficult to find a way through. Still, at this late stage, Luis Enrique's men have had one shot on target, one save for Vicario. That shows how good Tottenham have been defensively.
That's a poor delivery, which Porro can easily clear at the near post.
The difference in fitness has been telling. Just looking at the numbers, Tottenham have run over 6 kilometres more than Paris up to this point in the game.
Dembele, great ball, well defended by Romero. Turned around the corner by Vitinha, and that's a good try and an excellent goal to breathe life into the Super Cup. Lee letting fly and finding a way finally beyond Vicario to reignite hopes of perhaps Paris getting themselves back into this.
Well, just as you think that Tottenham have got a comfortable lead, just over 5 minutes to go, 2-0 to the good. Paris have given themselves hope, and it's a terrific strike as well. Brilliant header from Romero to the edge of the box, and for once Tottenham don't get a white shirt out to close the shot down. It's a terrific strike into the bottom corner. Vicario's got no chance.
Well, he has only scored one goal since November. That came in the Club World Cup against Atletico. He's netted tonight against Spurs, and perhaps the South Korean has found a way for Paris to take this to a penalty shootout. No extra time in the Super Cup, but not much time either for Paris to get themselves back on terms. Danso with yet another long throw. Porro. Oof.
And a foul, little push on the edge of the box.
Well, the Parisian supporters behind Vicario's goal have, I'm not going to say found their voice, because they've had their voices all night, but the volume just raised a bit more, the hope suddenly reignited as well. Largely pedestrian Parisian performance has just had a bit of extra spring injected into its step. Dembele.
The bench has made a difference for Paris. Obviously, Lee scoring. Fabian Ruiz has made a difference as well in the middle of the pitch.
Scoop forwards by Vitinha. Danso underneath it. Well, what we have, we hold, is very much the shape of the Spurs side now.
It has been for the last 15, 20 minutes.
Even more stoic and set in now, though, as Dembele sets Hakimi away. Spence detailed to deal with him. It's Marquinhos. Hakimi. Poor delivery again. That's quite a regular feature for Paris tonight, in fact. Pacho. Hakimi. Dembele deflected, and Paris have a corner. Ousmane Dembele to deliver that corner as well. They try to catch Spurs out, and they might do here. Mendes! Well, from him, that looked like it was on target till the intervention came.
Oh, that was travelling as well. Solanke with the block.
Jean Pinheiro just saying that time will be added on after Romero took a bit out of the game by going down. Dembele's corner. Tel can make it stick, so Vitinha for Paris. Mbaye. Oh, he's gone over. Goal kick is the call. Going to be a yellow card for the complaints from Ousmane Dembele as Paris continue to rage.
Well, my initial reaction was that he was looking for it. It was a heavy touch, it was going to go out of play, and there's very little contact. Not enough for him to award a penalty for it anyway.
And certainly not enough for VAR to decide they wanted to have another look at it. Lucas Bergvall with a late cameo here. He and Pat Matassar have actually both spent time in the number 10 role trying to work out who might be able to fill that position given the absence of Maddison and Kulusevski at the moment.
Very different profile, aren't they?
Yeah.
To Maddison and Kulusevski, those two. Industrious midfield players, runners, box-to-box players.
We are going to have a minimum of 6 added minutes tacked on to the end of the 90, which we are into now. Marquinhos, Lee. Spence didn't know where it had gone. Archie Gray did. Tells touch forwards. Vitinha swipe up towards Mbaye. Good nous from Porro and good distance on his hoof forwards as well.
He's only coming back though. Tottenham haven't had the control in the last 20 minutes that they had for the rest of the game. Not being able to keep hold of the ball long enough either. That'll be something that Thomas Frank will be looking for better from his side.
And Lee was waiting for the free kick, which he might have feared wasn't coming given how late the whistle was. Back underway with Pacho. Dembele. Lee. Marquinhos. Nuno Mendes. Mbaye had the chance to get it in. Mendes. Mbaye wanted it back. The cross is blocked. Nuno Mendes again. Marquinhos. Vitinha. Hakimi. And that was loose from him, and Bentancur was immediately onto it. Half of the 6 additional minutes have elapsed. Vitinha. Marquinhos. Lee. Again, Spence in the right place. Lee. Hakimi. Lee sweep across towards Mbaye. 5 Paris players in the area to aim for. Mbaye going the long way round. Now Marquinhos. This is Hakimi. Tickled on for Dembele. Dangerous ball, it's in! Paris Paris level! What a turnaround from the European champions. Second best for so long, but they've saved some of their best for last. And it's another substitute who's done the business. Gonzalo Ramos arriving to guide home and make it Paris 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2.
Well, it looked as though they were going nowhere. Tottenham were doing a really good job of forcing them sideways, around them, and not allowing them into the box. Eventually, they overload this right-hand side, and Dembele, I think, just about keeps himself onside. Really clever movement. No other thought than to whip this into the danger area as quickly as possible. It's a really good ball. Difficult to defend against. They just inject pace into their attack. They're European champions for a reason. Never know when they're beaten. From 2-0 down, they're back level.
Well, there's talk he might be back in Italy again soon. Gonzalo Ramos, AC Milan say to be readying a bid for him. Perhaps growing tired of his role as a super sub, but that was a super piece of work from the bench. And suddenly the whole mood has changed, and maybe it won't even be penalties that Paris are settling for after rescuing themselves from 2-0 down with 5 minutes to go. Matisse Tell. Spence. Blocked by Marquinhos fairly. Marquinhos. Dembele. Marquinhos. Fabian Ruiz. And by Spurs look tired now. Fabian Ruiz. Lee. Hakimi. Ramos waits. Spence blocks. 30 seconds of stoppage time left.
Still time. What a recovery from Paris. Never looked like getting back into it, but somehow they found a way.
Vitinha. This is Dembele. Dembele's teasing ball, and it could be perhaps a winning goal. Well, they're asking the referee for something which they're not going to get. Spurs somewhat fortunate that there wasn't a real sting in the tail right at the death. Paris wanted to play on there, and Romero saying that he has cramp, and they're not happy about that. So close for Thomas Frank, but it's not over yet. If that cramp is as bad as Romero is suggesting, I'm not sure he'd be able to take a penalty. We'll see about that. Long-range effort that the Courier has saved, and that is the last action of the game. A game that Paris have roared back into life in after Tottenham got themselves into the ascendancy with 2 set-piece goals. But the substitutes have helped to turn it around. Ramos and Lee both scoring late on to make it Paris 2, Tottenham 2, and take us to a penalty shootout.
Oh, well, what a dramatic finish to get to penalties. Spurs, they couldn't hold on, Nigel. PSG just really grew into that game, didn't they?
They grew into that game, and it just shows about the quality of this PSG side. It wasn't a great showing for the majority of the game. You talk about fitness levels, Tottenham were ahead, but for me, like the commentator just said there, Fabian Ruiz and Lee coming on just changed the game for Paris Saint-Germain. They upped the tempo, which just shows the quality that they have when they haven't even been at their best.
And now we'll see penalties where we know Donnarumma was so good for PSG, Charlie, last season. And this is a great look at Chevalier now.
Chevalier has a big opportunity in front of him to kind of rewrite the wrong. In this match, he gave up, to me, what was a major mistake. Donnarumma makes that save 100 times out of 100 times.
Whoa. Be careful.
100 times out of 100 times.
I will just say this. Be careful if you live in a glass house, because it doesn't take long to go onto social media and see some of the mistakes Donnarumma has made.
Right. We're not talking about the past. We're talking about
It plays a part. It plays a part in consistency of being a player. You cannot say...
This is the reality, though.
Yeah.
Donnarumma's leaving PSG at his height in his career. Yes, there have been several moments, Nigel, I agree with you, that Donnarumma has been called into question because of certain blunders or mistakes that he's done down the stretch in important moments for PSG. The reality of the situation, though, is Donnarumma was in his finest form in a PSG uniform, and the first game without him, the goalkeeper makes a mistake. There's going to be a moment right now for redemption for Chevalier, because he's the main man. The mistake might get forgotten a little bit. But he starts with a left foot forward. Is that not a reality, Nige?
I'm not disputing that, but I'm just saying in lines of goalkeepers in the history, you see, they're going to make a mistake. Yes, he's just come there. There's a lot being talked about Donnarumma. He makes a mistake, no problem, but we can't make it seem like Donnarumma's been an absolute perfect goalkeeper without no asterisks on his name and hasn't made mistakes.
Nigel, we're talking about currently, right now. They've moved on from Donnarumma. That's the decision that they've made. They went from an elite shot stopper that helped them win Champions League to an up-and-coming rising star who was the Olympic goalkeeper. That's fine. Lucas Chevalier, we know what he's capable of. A great goalkeeper with his feet. But what both Nico and I were talking about before the game is, in the end, in those big moments, you need a keeper to stand on his head. You need a keeper who's going to make the big shot-stopping save. And in this case, in a final Super Cup, Chevalier had his one opportunity, and he's made a mistake to save the ball. So now he can make amends for that in this penalty kick.
No problem. 6 days of training.
Just very quickly on the Tottenham side of things, the argument for them with Ange was they couldn't see out a game. It was never consistent enough. Did it feel different under Thomas Frank, even though they let a two-goal lead?
Without a doubt, win or lose in this penalty kick shootout, the Tottenham performance was great. They look different, balanced, organized.
I won't say
except the last 5 minutes, they look good. They were really on.
But that's part of it now, moving forward. You need to be able to see out games like this, regardless of if you're that far.
First game under Thomas Frank.
Okay, 84th minute. By that time there, Tottenham had ran 6K more than Paris Saint-Germain.
Good for them.
If you want to be a winning club, you have to be able to see it out. That's what it is now. Tottenham at that level.
This is a process, Nigel. This is a process to see where Thomas Frank is starting from. It's phenomenal. I give so much credit to what Tottenham has done.
I didn't say it was bad. I said it was good
in this Super Cup against the PSG side.
Well, Luis Enrique did say in his press conference they haven't practiced penalties. They've only been back for 6 days. Let's see now how it all goes down. Back over to Udine. We'll see you after, everybody.
It is advantage Tottenham because the penalties are being taken where their supporters are, and also if you take the first one, generally I think the stats show that you will win more penalty shootouts than you'll lose, so it is advantage Tottenham.
Well, they say, don't they, that shootouts are normally all about the goalkeepers. One of those two will likely be a hero tonight, and it'll be a story either way. Lucas Chevalier making his debut for Paris tonight, having only recently joined from Lille, and Guillermo Vicario, born here in Udine, returning to the city. But it will be Chevalier who will do his level best to keep the first spot kick out. And it's Dominic Solanke who will take it, and who stuck away a penalty during their successful Europa League campaign. He's had a pre-season disrupted by injuries and has only just come onto the pitch. Solanke steps up first against Lucas Chevalier, and Solanke, great penalty. No rustiness there from Spurs centre forward.
Terrific strike from Solanke. Small runner, enough height to beat Chevalier and enough pace as well. Goalkeeper guesses the right way, maybe even gets the slightest fingertip on it, can't keep it out.
So Vitinha, who has had experience of playing in England with Wolverhampton Wanderers, scored his penalty in the shootout win at Liverpool and for Portugal against Spain in the Nations League final. Can he do it in the Super Cup? Coutinho. Oh, it's wide. Sent Vicario the wrong way, but sent the spot kick the wrong side of the post too.
It was a measured run-up, took his time. Goalkeeper went the wrong way, but he couldn't hit the target. The advantage just gets bigger for Tottenham.
Next up for Tottenham Hotspur, Rodrigo Bentancur. Used to play in Italy with Juventus, joined Spurs from that club. Can he do the business for them on Italian turf here? Bentancur against Chevalier. Brilliant penalty again. Two really authoritative strikes from Spurs, and they have the ascendancy in the shootout.
Oh, this is terrific. Thumping penalty. Again, lifting it so that Chevalier can't get his hand on it. But look at the pace. Fantastic strike from Bentancur. And a word for his goalkeeper as well.
Gonzalo Ramos, who took us to this penalty shootout. Another who scored his in the shootout at Liverpool in March. Ramos, straight down the middle, and it does the job for Paris Saint-Germain, and he has a couple of words for the Spurs fans behind that goal.
And put his foot through this one.
So Van de Ven, who opened the scoring to keep Spurs in the driving seat. Van de Ven saved! Chevalier down to his left and gets the right contact on it to take the advantage away from Spurs.
Third time lucky for Chevalier. He's guessed the right way every single time. The first two he couldn't get near. And this one's close enough for him to make the comfortable save.
Well, if Dembele scores here, then we have parity in the shootout with two left for each team. Player who is seen as the favourite to win the Ballon d'Or. Can he win the battle with Vicario? He can. Elegantly swept home by Ousmane Dembele, and we're all square.
Unconventional run-up. Looks as though he may have been taking it left-footed, then spun round. Maybe just to put the goalkeeper off.
Matisse Tell is next up to the spot. Matisse Tell stops and puts it wide. Well, Chevalier had gone the wrong way, but Tell didn't make anything of the extra space and sends it wide of the post. Advantage Paris.
That was a laboured walk up to the spot, then the stuttering run, and just drags it the wrong side of the post.
So now Spurs are in a tight spot, and Paris have got the chance to get their noses in front in this shootout. If Lee Kang-in scores this, they will be 3-2 up with one penalty each left to take. He scored a rasper from about 20-25 yards out. Can he deliver from 12 yards here? Lee Kang-in sends it in, and Paris are within touching distance now of the Super Cup.
Composed penalty. Made a difference after coming off the bench. Scored that opener for Paris and now guides his penalty into the corner to give Paris the advantage. 1 to go.
Well, this has to go in, or else the Super Cup is going to Paris. Pedro Porro has the responsibility. To keep Spurs alive in the Super Cup. Pedro Porro scores quite brilliantly. Shrugged off all the pressure there, Porro. And now Paris have to do the business themselves to get over the line.
He's making Paris win it. Misinformation for Chevalier. His teammates on the halfway line were saying dive to your right. It's exactly what he did. And Porro duly puts it to his left.
Guillermo Vicario desperate to try and be the hero for Tottenham here, to take it into sudden death. Nuno Mendes for Luis Enrique's side. It looks like a short run up. Mendes scores, and Paris win the Super Cup. The Champions League winners are victorious against the Europa League victors, and they have shown the spirit and quality of all conquering champions here. Up against it, off colour, but never quite out of the equation. Roaring back late on to take it to spot kicks, and then keeping their nerve to win the shootout. They are Super Cup winners for the very first time, having defeated Tottenham Hotspur on penalty kicks.
Well, what a turnaround. It never looked likely that they were going to find a way back into this match. For long periods, Tottenham had kept them at arm's length. It took them 85 minutes to register. And eventually, they find the equaliser in added on time and then show the character, after missing an early penalty, to come back and win it. They are the best team in Europe, and somehow they found a way to win the Super Cup. Great celebrations.
Well, any tiredness or fatigue that they might have been feeling, given their lack of a pre-season coming into this, seems to have disappeared in amongst the joy and celebrations. Full time then, Paris 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Paris win 4-3 after penalties.
No pre-season, no problem for PSG, Nigel.
Mentality monsters. Credit to him. Looking at Luis Enrique.